Bitcoin had a little bit of a drop in price, and we're currently trading around $107,000. But Bitcoin 2025 is so bullish, I can't even begin to tell you. I'm going to do my best to give you the quickest recap of the top highlights of Bitcoin 2025 now. Yes, Ripple and XRP did make an appearance at Bitcoin 2025. Make sure to like this video, smash a like, and subscribe with all alerts set so you don't miss anything. For reference, this is Wednesday, May 28th, and JD Vance is expected to take the stage. I'm going to go see the talk, and fingers crossed I can get you some footage. But let's talk about what happened yesterday, Tuesday, May 27th. Donald Trump Jr. was on stage. He was asked where he sees Bitcoin in 5 years. Not only did he say, we're going to the moon, but he also says, I think we're just at the forefront and it's only going up. Yes, I know he's been known to be bullish in the past. However, we are very much at the forefront. There's so many different entities coming into the space that are acquiring Bitcoin and want to use its technology. But more importantly, most people just see it as an asset that could essentially help with inflation, fight against all the craziness that we're seeing happening in the world. And next, we had Hines on stage. Bitcoin's truly the golden standard. That's why we say Bitcoin is digital gold. If you don't know who Hines is, have no worries, because I needed a refresher yesterday. Hines is the executive director of the President's Council of the Advisors on Digital Assets of the White House. And he's 100% correct. Bitcoin is digital gold. There are a lot of people that do think that Bitcoin will eventually outpace gold. I personally think both are decent assets and do what makes you happy. However, Bitcoin works a lot differently than gold. It's more of a technology. And you could actually use it to store stuff on chain, but we're not going to get into that today. Either way, both Bitcoin and gold are very important, and the fact that we have these big public servants from the White House talking about it at this conference is amazing. Next, we have Senator Lummis, who is on stage. As most of you know, she's a big proponent for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and she's also a big fan of the Genius Act, which is a stablecoin bill, which we're not going to get into too much. She said that it's important that our government include Bitcoin as digital gold. We have about 5% of the world's gold in the US in the reserve. We need to have at least 5% of the world's Bitcoin in the reserve. She also talked about how the UAE, Dubai, is buying Bitcoin through the Bitcoin spot ETFs, and that countries will build their sovereign wealth in Bitcoin through US ETFs. Yes, Bitcoin does fuel innovation. Yes, Bitcoin is digital gold, but at the end of the day, Bitcoin was created for the people, by the people. And even though we have all of these traditional financial products, the Bitcoin spot ETFs, the treasury funds, the Bitcoin strategic reserve that is coming, always remember, you can actually hold your Bitcoin yourself and you do not have to go through a third party. Next, we had Robert Mitchnick, and he's breaking down why Bitcoin recommends allocating 1 to 2% of your portfolio in Bitcoin matters. He says that BlackRock offers model portfolios. They are a tool to help financial advisors build better portfolios for their end clients. In February, BlackRock added Bitcoin as an allocation in its model portfolio for the 1 to 2% range, which is absolutely wild because they are Bitcoin spot ETF issuers. I digress. And before BlackRock decided to add Bitcoin into its portfolio, or just in general, they researched for years and years and years. Now, these are all big TradFi guys that did not like Bitcoin at first, but they all hopped on the bandwagon because they know that's where the money is. And for them, it's all about the bottom line. Heck, even GameStop announced that they just bought Bitcoin early this morning. They purchased 4,710 Bitcoin. Now, why does this matter? Well, Bitcoin is a finite asset. We're seeing all these big companies, institutions, etc. hop to get Bitcoin. I don't blame them. Oh, and we have one more special guest that kind of showed up at Bitcoin 2025. It's none other than Ripple and XRP. Bitcoin conference account posted special guest at Bitcoin 2025, Skull of Satoshi, which was donated by Ripple to the Bitcoin community, and it's going to have a permanent home at the Bitcoin Museum in Nashville. The reason why this is kind of interesting is because the Maxis and XRP Army always go at it. So I'm sure the Maxis are not pleased that this skull was at the conference or will be at the museum. But Brad Garlinghouse did come out and say something pretty nice. He said that the Skull of Satoshi was originally built to call attention to blockchain usage. And it's just kind of a symbol to remind everybody about Bitcoin, because really without Bitcoin and its staying power, blockchain and crypto wouldn't be what it is today, or maybe even here. And all these technologies are becoming widely used. He's also calling kind of for the communities to come together. And honestly, we could talk about the differences between XRP and Bitcoin all day long, but Bitcoin is really corporate now, super political. You saw all the people that were on stage talking about Bitcoin. And you have to remember, I was at Bitcoin 2019 through an event for them, and the conference has changed so much. Did it change for the good or for the bad? Well, it's just part of evolution, part of technology moving forward, and really part of adoption, and that's exactly what we've all wanted. Also, David Sachs was not at Bitcoin 2025, but he went on to say this about Miss Warren. She, for some reason, has this pathological hatred for the crypto community and wants to drive this community offshore and doesn't want it happening in the US. The reason why this is important is because it's very clear to see who is on what side. No matter what, Bitcoin will always be for the people, same with crypto, and it does need to get integrated somehow. And that's what we're currently working on, pushing regulation through, pushing adoption through, allowing companies to be able to build, and basically just anyone in the United States of America to have access to crypto and not have to be worried. Because again, she's kind of pushing back with the Genius Act. And last but not least, House GOP targets Thursday for introduction of update market structure bill, which is going to be tomorrow, the 29th. The draft is backed by key GOP leaders, and it aims to establish a regulatory framework for crypto trading. A House hearing is set for June 4th, and House markup on various measures is scheduled for June 10th, though it remains unclear whether a crypto bill will be included. I personally think it's going to be included. Happy to be wrong, but at the end of the day, they really want to push this stuff through. I was at a meeting with MasterCard yesterday and SumSub, which was super cool. Well, it was a dinner. But they were really kind of just talking about digital identities and how this all ties into crypto for payments, and how big banks and traditional financial giants like MasterCard are coming in the space, and they are coming fast. They're just waiting for regulation to go through. Anyways, make sure you guys smash the like, subscribe, set alerts, and I will get an update for you later. Bye-bye.